10 seconds.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
Welcome to Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Get ready to explore the world of comics, past, present, and future, with our panelists Eric Hawkins, Brian Rodman, and Clyde Hall. And now here's your host, Brian K. Morris.
Good evening. StreamYard is not my friend tonight. Anyway, hope you're having a great Thursday night. This is the October 21st, 2021 edition of Comic Book Spectrum. We're so glad you're here. We've got some great stuff lined up for you tonight, some great reviews, and we'll have some conversation. Of course, we look forward to your comments here. So do not let us down. Be pithy if you would. So anyway, let's start out with our usual attitude of gratitude. Okay, hold on. I'm not prepared yet. Okay, so I have to doctor myself since Cookie's not here. But anyway, we hope you enjoy the show, and we've got to give some love to Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. Last weekend, I was at a comic book or horror show, comic books and books show, and I showed off the cover to an upcoming book of mine called The Terrors. And it got a lot of beautiful, beautiful comments because that cover was by Jeffrey Hayes of Plasma Fire Graphics. And if you want him to work his magic for you, go to plasmafiregraphics.com. First, check out their Facebook page and know that they can not only do a wraparound cover for your book, they also can give you the graphics that'll help you sell that book as well as a beautiful book trailer. And you want all that, and it's very affordable, trust me. Anyway, check out Facebook. Check out their website and contact Jeffrey Hayes directly there. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it does matter to your readers, believe it or not. Also, we want to thank our Patreon subscribers. Patreon is a monthly subscription service where you can support your favorite creators directly with a small financial stipend. And these are the folks that support me, and I'm very, very grateful to each and every one of them. Plus, they have their own, and you got to check them out too, because they're all doing some amazing things for your monthly money. And I just posted another chapter of The Terrors today, speaking of that book. So if you were a $5 or more member, you would get to see the advanced look and make comments and maybe even down the road, name some of the characters. And if nothing else, you get to see your name on this card. And if you want to join these wonderful people, then check out what we've got to offer at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. Also want to thank the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We are an organization of like-minded broadcasters who have banded together to help each other rise together. And we've got some great shows like The Dastardly Dingoes and The Truth Mongers, Tidbits and Scribbles, Last Man Standing, and Stupid O'Clock, which is on later tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central, and followed by Last Man Standing with Dan Holofield and his great guests at around 11 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night we'll have Drinking with the Davies in the evening, followed by the Historical Fencing Guild at 8 p.m. Eastern. And tomorrow morning, I'll be back with a brand new live episode of Never Mind the Furthermore. So please check us out on Facebook at the Rising Tide Broadcast Network and know that we've got you covered for entertainment 7 days a week. And speaking of getting things covered, we have got a wonderful panel, our usual gang of crazies here, and it's my pleasure to introduce my friends, Brian Rodman, Jody McFee, and Clyde Hall. That's right, we got to hoist our goblins here. Oh, nice. Evans Zodiac. And Mr. Culture down below. Cool.
Oh, nice.
That's beautiful, Joe. That's beautiful. So how you guys doing tonight?
Hanging in there. Besides, nobody can know my secret identity.
Okay, that's okay. You can share it here because we know that only a few hundred people are watching right now. Anyway,
really Eric Hawkins.
It's true. It's true.
No, Eric Hawkins is just an alias. My middle name is Drake Mallard.
It is like the Lamont Cranston and Ken
Yeah,
Allard
like
sort of thing
Ken
going
Allard
here. So,
happening.
well, speaking of our identities, why don't we reveal our public identities to these wonderful people in our audience? We'll start with Clyde, then Joe, then Brian, and then we'll launch the show. So, Clyde, tell everyone who you are and why you are so darned amazing.
Well, I'm Clyde Hall, and this evening it just feels easy being Halloweeny. I've got my Halloween shirt. I've got my tribute pumpkin set up here to Comic Cavalcade number 12, 1945. But I'm an elder statesman of geekery. What does that mean exactly? That means that I learned to read with comic books. Before I could read, I was looking at the pictures. I have LARPed, and I have tabletopped, and I have mushed and mooed and mudded. Yeah.
Say it slower.
If it's a geeky thing, chances are I have either rubbed elbows with it or done it. So I am currently writing, a contributing writer at Stormgate Press. We put out Pulp Reality #1, and I started a series of stories centering around an original character called B-Man. And the first issue won a Pulp Factory Award, not because of me, thank you, but because of the great team that this publication has going for it, of writers and artists. So you can find this at www.stormgatepress.com. You can also find it on Amazon, and also available in both of those locations is Pulp Reality #2, the follow-up to it, another B-Man story. Pulp Reality #3 should be coming out, I believe, before the end of the year. But do yourself a favor. Go to www.stormgatepress.com. Look at some of the new pulp material and the horror and some of the other short story and novel goodness there. People like Brian K. Morris and Charles Milhouse and people like Bobby Nash all have work there. I am betting that if you like comic books and you like pulp and new pulp, you will find something there to your liking.
Most excellent. Thank you so much, Clyde. And here he is filling in for Eric Hawkins, but no less amazing in his own right, the one, the only Joe D. McFee. Joe, introduce yourself, please.
And if you was paying attention to the thumbnail, only thing I can say is I pay the fool who don't watch this show. I am Joe D. McFee, curator and your host for From the Desk of a Small Press Publisher on Saturdays at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time. Sometimes I'm also a contributing writer to Comic Books Unlimited, edited and published by Glenn B. Fleming. From time to time, you might catch a couple of my articles there. Outside of that, I am the writer, creator of Amazonia, as you guys know about the banner. And as you can see, it kind of changed up things here a little bit, where you can see some of the issues now clearly on screen. Well, not really on screen, but, in the background a little bit more. Some of the more, if I could say, variant issues and whatnot. Outside of that, I'm just pretty much a guy who creates comics, writes comics, and pretty much help wherever I can when people ask.
Very good. Well, we're glad you're here, Joe, as always.
Mm-hmm.
And rounding out the crew here is the one, the only Brian Rodman. Brian, tell the people why you are so awesome.
That's emphasis on the rounding. No. I'm Brian Rodman. I am a co-host of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast, which is now on the Rising Tide Network. This past Tuesday, we had the privilege, Chad and I did, to interview our very own Clyde Hall. And if you want to know more about the B-Man character, a little bit more about Clyde's story, head on over to YouTube and type in the Dastardly Dingoes podcast and like, subscribe if you haven't already, and check out the episode because it was really, really great. Clyde did a great job, and I love it when we run out of questions, or I love it when we run out of time instead of running out of questions, and that's exactly what happened on Tuesday because Clyde is very interesting and we had a great time. Most of it was just me and Clyde talking because who needs Chad anyway. I am also
He left right in the middle of the show. He just
he left in the middle of the show. So
they have that effect on people, though. I'm not too surprised.
Oh, don't worry, Chad, or don't worry, Clyde. It's not you, it's him. I am also the writer and illustrator of the horror fantasy comic book series Memoirs of an Angel, which is on Kickstarter right now for issue 8. We have 9 days left. We close out on Halloween at 12:04 p.m. Not that we're counting or anything, but we are less than 10 people. I think we have, the last time I checked, we are 8 backers away from hitting our first backer goal, which is huge. If we get to 100 backers, everybody will get a 5x7 print of the variant cover by the amazingly talented Braxton Gaither. And we are also well on our way to our first stretch goal of $3,000, which everybody will get a bookmark of Legion, the demoniac from the Bible, who is also in this issue of Memoirs of an Angel. That's right, we go back and we tell that story from the spiritual world side. So you don't want to miss it. It's going to be awesome. Go here, check it out. Other than that, you can find me here every Thursday night. And let's get into some interviews. What do you guys say?
Why don't we? Let's just keep the frame on.
We always have time for that jibber jabber. He's
This is
Change
great.
it, please.
Hi, and I'm the sadistic Brian K. Morris, and I'm a freelance author and broadcaster, and I'd like to thank the people that just recently subscribed in the last few days to the Rising Tide Broadcast Network here on YouTube, and especially all those Russian bots that I'm detecting. I don't care. I'm counting them. But anyway, I'm a writer. I have my own outfit called Rising Tide Publications, but I also work for other places such as Prose Press and Flinch Books. And speaking of Flinch Books, this is a collection of short stories about a character that we'll be hearing more of later next year. And I have a story in this volume. I also am part of brand new releases. Ask for these by name. Zlonk, Zak, Zowie, and the follow-up in which I have an essay in there, Biff, Bam, and Yow. This covers the first season and the second season of the 1966 Batman series. And I'm in volume 2 talking about Egghead with Vincent Price, but there's some of the listed contributors here include Jim Beard, Ed Catto, Keith DiCandido, Chuck Dixon, Paul Kupperberg, Rich Handley, Dan Greenfield, Bob Greenberger, Will Murray, Mark B. Raycop, Peter Sanderson, Stephen Thompson, Peter David, Greg Cox, Michael Jan Friedman, and myself. All right, so please pick them up. They're available on Amazon even as we speak. And I also write comics, and I do far more broadcasting and drink far more coffee than I should. And I am so glad to be here with these guys tonight. As always, I appreciate you all. And also, if you want to sign up for my free monthly newsletter, right there's the place, risingtide.pub, from whom all blessings flow. So we have comments. We have a record number of comments. I have not looked at them.
Ooh.
We have almost, some shows like that, of this sort, the comments don't start until the host shows up. But we are blessed to have people commenting long before we get here. And let's see, here we go. And Carl Witzman is here. Glad to have you here, Carl. Carl, thank you so much. I want to thank you publicly for pitch hitting on Never Mind the Furthermore yesterday morning. I've yet to see it, but I know it's going to be far better than anything I've ever done. Anyway, almost time for Comic Book Spectrum. Good evening, everyone, and yay! And it's cold out. Everyone should be in here watching. So go on over to Carl's house.
You heard him, folks. He said it.
You heard him, man.
He got alcohol for days.
Right?
Bring cigars. Bring some cigars. They'll let you in.
He'll welcome you in.
That's right. Yeah. Or don't even bother knocking. Just walk on in. And Sarah, glad to see you, darling. Mwah. And everyone's saying hello to each other. Hit the button, Brian. Oh, I'm trying to hit the right one. And that key lime Kit Kat. Our area has run out of those. Well, Cookie and I love key lime. And yeah, that stuff is great. And it's a time war. And send the latest picture. Mind blown. Well, excuse me, everyone. It's probably not that kind. Anyway, and Ted Davies Artistry. Check out Ted Davies Drinking with the Davies tomorrow. I forgot to mention that. At 6 p.m. He and his wife Christine have an amazing drink lined up. They told me all about it. Can't remember the name of it, but I drink too much coffee. But it's going to be something special, and you will enjoy watching those two on the air. Good evening, fellow superstars. Fab Four Rules. You got that right, brother. Good to see you here. And everyone said, and the cool kids are shuffling in. They are indeed. And Ryan Permisson, what's up, CBS crew? How are you? We are well, my friend. Hope you are doing well. And Ted maybe Ted will do a green room. And Ryan, I see your question. We will come back to that. Okay. And I should ask that now so we have time to think about it. Who would play you in a biopic?
I already have mine. I'm ready.
Okay, and Donna Carlene says Kathleen Turner. I think that's pretty good. I think I like that. And Ryan has a thought on DC Fandom. We can talk about that after that. And if you need us to, Drinking with the Davies, The Lion's Tale, be there at 7 p.m. Eastern. And who would play Carl would be Mel Brooks.
I could see that.
Yeah, I could too. I think that's pretty apt. He's going to have to grow a really nice beard, though. And Donna's going to catch it on the rerun set. We're going to be at a concert over in Effingham. Very, very cool.
Effingham? Jeez.
You've been there, I see. Anyway, and love Clyde's kitty cat T-shirt.
Yes.
The classic Halloween decoration.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you
awesome.
Go. Yes, and Sarah's bagging and boarding even more treasures while she's listening. And thank you, Ryan Permisson, for sharing this broadcast. Please do that, everyone. Please like and share and subscribe. And remember, if I get 1,100 subscribers by the end of Halloween night, I will do a special 12-hour Never Mind the Furthermore. And we're back on the road. We're back on track again. We passed 700 people today. Yeah. So get the hail pail ready. Let's see. Here we go. The moment, says Sarah, I walked into my local comic shop. The owner put a box on the counter saying, I'll need it. I believe the technical term is they saw you coming. I laughed so hard because it's true. Yes, and I was like texting with Sarah last weekend when I was at DeadCon, and there was right in front of my booth, somebody dressed up as Pennywise came out with a bowl of candy.
Nice.
And went up to this family of 5, and there were 2 kids. One was a boy, I would say he was probably about 4, and the girl who was probably about 3, maybe. They saw Pennywise, and they lost their poop. They started screaming and and I was looking at the windows vibrate, in the outside of the auditorium, and when and Pennywise was doing his best not to break character, but still, make a peace offering of the candy. When he approached them with the bowl, one girl went south and the boy went north. Like they were shot out of a cannon, just like zip, and this probably reveals what would be poor parenting skills on my part, but I was laughing my butt off at this dilemma. So it was priceless. I did try to console Pennywise. You should have offered him a balloon.
Yeah.
But too little, too late. But anyway, and screenshot. Okay, cool. And good evening to Grant Lankard. Check out Grant Lankard's Memoirs of the Morbid, currently funding on Kickstarter. I'm in there. You want it? And yeah, Michael Jan Friedman. Wow, yeah. And the Phantom Downvoter strikes again. Let him. And let's see. Oh, he hasn't seen Everyone Furthermore yet. It's good. And we'll share some alcohol, but don't touch my cigars. I am sure. And let's see. We just had a comment dump. And yes, bring cigars. You will be welcome. And Grant Lankard's agreeing with Brian here, more like Effingham. And let's see. Oh, and the last pick I sent you is an original copy of a November 1954 issue of a book. That's the exact month and year my mom was born. And I think you'll really enjoy seeing it when you can. I look forward to that. And Teresa Dunn, glad to see her Poetry Expressions available on Amazon right now. Get those books. And Ryan asks, CBS crew, who are you dressing up as for Halloween next weekend?
I will be Hagrid. As usual, and my wife is going to be the birthday cake that Hagrid brings Harry. And yeah, and
pictures, aren't you?
Oh yeah,
please,
yes, please.
Yeah. We'll post. We're going to a Halloween party with some friends, and we're really excited about it. We were going to try to find some costumes for the kiddies. We were going to try and find dragon costumes. They're way too expensive for just a laugh and a picture. So we're not doing that. But yeah, we're we have to finish finding Robin's costume. I think we're just going to hand make it. It's going to be really cool. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Yeah, that's
a little runny whip. Yep.
I think we're either going to get her like a pink sweater, like a pink sweatshirt, and just, write the happy birthday Harry on it, or we're going to find like a big, like cutout,
a
like
sandwich board kind of thing.
Just like, like that she can wear, and we'll write it on there. So we'll see.
I like Clyde's idea of the whipped cream. You guys will never make it to the party, though.
Yeah, I was going to say, if we did that, there would be no party. Well, there'd be a party, but there would be no,
It won't be at their place, so.
And that's all we're going to say about that. So.
I'm sorry to get warm in here all of a sudden. Let's see. Joe, Clyde, how about you guys?
Joe?
Oh, for me, it's going to be a guy who don't give out candy because I really don't celebrate. No, that's easy.
You're going to be the get off my yard guy.
Yeah, you're on model, Joe.
What you do, Joe?
It's more along the lines like, why is the front fist locked, guy?
Here's what you do: you print out a sign, you post it on the front of your door that says error 404, candy not found. And then you go to bed. That's what you do.
Go.
Mm-hmm.
There's your Halloween decoration.
And Joe's like, that's too much work.
Yeah.
Just to be antisocial.
I had the perfect dodge for years because we had the same night as Trick or Treat, we had Books for Treat at the library. So I could just put a sign up on my door going, "Hey, kids, come to the library," because books are brain candy. So come to the library instead. But now they've split it up so it's two different nights. So. But I'm going to most likely for the Books for Treats at the library, giving out candy at home here. We did a big thing last year. It's going to be scaled down this year, but I figured I would use the same character. We're also doing a horror movie double feature that I get to host at the library. We're going to show the original Blob and Cat People this year.
Cat People. Yes.
Oh, don't show them the remake. Do not show them the remake.
No.
Don't do that at all.
No. But of either one, not the remake of the Blob or the remake of Cat People. So
I like the remake of the Blob, but not.
Did you? Okay. Well,
I
figured
that the original though.
Yeah, the original is better. So, but I had to come up with a horror host character this year for that. I always before I just was me. Just we'd do like trivia and things, but they're like, no, come up with a horror host. So I had to make an original horror host. So I'm like, great, the horror host outfit will work for all these things. So I am Professor Fernando Van Hamstring, your host for the C. Bremer Memorial Public Library horror double feature. And I have a friend of mine is going to play the my Fiverr lab assistant, and he's going to be Igor. So,
Oh my gosh.
Yes, master. Master.
Yes.
That's
Yep,
lovely.
So that's what and I'm going to post pictures so you'll get to see. But basically, it's a frock coat, and Ginny has made up a great steampunk centric chapeau for me. I was going to use this shirt, but the frock covers enough of it that I was like, well, no one will ever see any of this. So I'm wearing it for shows like this.
You can still take it off your taxes now. As a
There you
professional.
go.
There you go.
Absolutely.
That sounds awesome. That sounds awesome. Well, unfortunately, what we usually do is we drive around, Cookie and I, and look at Halloween decorations on houses, because that's always fun. And or sometimes we'll sit up here in my office, which overlooks the street, and we'll watch the kids running around from house to house looking for treats. But we don't give them out. We're like Joe. We don't really indulge, because we both come from a time when you only went to houses that you knew the people there. And part of the people that lived there, what the part of their game was, they had to guess who was behind the mask.
Mm-hmm.
And that just doesn't happen anymore. So we're kind of opting out of that. But on Halloween, in fact, all of Halloween weekend, he's #always promote. I'll be cosplaying as a fez-wearing author at HalloCon down in Dalton, Georgia. Go to hallocon.com for more details. I'll be joined by Michaela Jade, Bobby Nash, and John B. Pica, among other luminaries such as the cast of Last Man Standing and Stupid O'Clock. And in fact, there will be a live broadcast of Behind the Cereal Box on Saturday morning, in which I am a guest there. And I hope they don't ask me to go in my sleepwear, because all I wear when I sleep is a smile. But anyway, so that's what I'm doing for Halloween. Please come see us there. #always promote. Anyway,
Excellent.
Thank you. I couldn't resist. How hard did I try? Anyway, let's see. Okay. Oh, and Sarah says she's gonna go be a booth babe Pennywise for giggles. I told her that story about the kids, and so I think she wants her share of the fun. And said, "Oh, you want people to go to your booth? Well, crap. Well, it depends on the accessories that Ms. Pennywise would be wearing, I think. And back to bagging and boarding. Okay." And Ted Davies says, "We are dressing up as Adam and Eve this Halloween." You wish. Fake leaves will be in use, though. Okay. And Carl Westman says, "I was going to be that get off my lawn guy, too."
Just sit on your porch in a lawn chair with a shotgun and don't say a word.
Yeah. How bad you want that Butterfinger, little boy? Anyway, Grant Lanker to sing like David Bowie, putting out fire with gasoline. Oh, yeah. And Sarah knows how to sell at party. She goes, "I keep the lights off and eat the candy myself."
There you go.
That's the way. And HalloCon, that's right. Carl and Donna will be there too. I forgot. So please come see it. It's going to be like a great big grouping of rising tide people. So, and Angie thinks I'm a party pooper because I don't think teenagers should trick or treat, says Grant Lankard. You're right. It should be left up to adults.
I don't care. If you show up at my door, I'll give you candy. I don't care.
Yeah.
As long as you have a costume on. That's my thing. If you have a costume and not like the stupid costume, right? Like the 404 costume not found, don't pull that crap. Show up at my door in a costume, you've earned your candy. I don't care how old you are.
There you go. Or you come up holding a bottle of Mad Dog 2020.
I'll give you candy.
Candy.
Yeah. I'll give you candy just so you get away from me. That's what that means.
We used to say
it'd be a lot easier just to bolt the door, just don't answer it.
That's right.
We used to fix up the peanut butter kisses from the year before. we would freeze them and you get them out, and they're just not the same after they've been frozen once. They're real hard. And so if we had somebody that was really abusive, most of the time it didn't matter. We didn't care. If they had teenagers in costume, that's fine. But every once in a while you get somebody going, somebody comes up that's 25 going, not in costume, going, give me something. Okay. Here, have some peanut butter kisses. Okay, fine. I'm like, the dentists in town are probably good. They need to have a kickback fund for me.
Yeah.
But that was just, very few and far between. Most of the time we've had good turnouts of kids in costumes, younger kids, but really last year we had a few teenagers, but they were dressed up. That's fine. I don't have a standard. You can come and we'll give you some kind of candy or an apple or something. So.
Well, I just had this vision of you for a second. You want some candy? Whoosh!
Wang! Oh.
Yeah.
The politeness man, Steel Hanky. Wang!
Or you could just celebrate Devil's Night, just like in The Crow, and bring a flamethrower and have a nice barbecue. Oh, you're rude? That's a charge, but it'll be fun.
There we go. And the Historical Fencing Guild is watching us through 2 channels to offset the negative vibes. We love you, Nick. And don't forget, Nick is on every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central, teaching you how to murder people, which will be especially useful on Halloween. So
it's not murdering people; it's self-defense. Get it right.
Oh, aggressive self-defense. That's what we'll call it.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. There we go.
Self-defense. If they make the first move, it's self-defense.
I saw him thinking about it, officer. I swear to God, he was thinking about it. I couldn't see his thoughts, so I thought he had a concealed weapon up there. Anyway, Remelian is here. Mwah, good evening to you, darling. And cosplay is mandatory. Mm-hmm. I agree with that. And Dead Davies says, Rodman, send your address. I need candy.
I mean, you could drive all the way here to get a fistful of candy, or you could just go to the grocery and buy a big bag, and I feel like you'd save some money. But yeah, sure. That's fine.
I was waiting for you, Brian. I was waiting for you to tell him. Yeah, I live in Lafayette, Indiana. In fact, I have the address right here. So
that'd be great.
That'd be funny. And Carl, can we stop by Brian's on the way home? I have a costume.
Again, yes. If you really want to drive all the way here, I will give you candy.
It's not about the candy; it's about the journey.
I guess.
I believe it's about the face that it's going to make when you ring the doorbell. Like, really?
Joke's on you. I don't have a doorbell.
So they're just stabbing their finger against the door jamb. So a bunch of folks are Halloween Grinches and they deserve the ghost of Halloween passes. The Historical Fencing Guild. I would rather folks trick or treat than being morons in cemeteries. Well, they could be morons in cemeteries or morons pounding at your door going, I want candy. And Remelian says, ask, what do you guys think of the trunk or treat trend?
I think it's fun. I've done it before.
Yeah.
We fielded the first year that the Avengers movie came out, we fielded an entire Avengers team for a trunk or treat. So cool. Kids had a blast. So it was fun.
Yeah, we had one, we were a part of one where every car had a game.
Oh, cool.
And it was like the kids would come up and they'd play the game and they'd get candy whether they won or lose or won or lost. But yeah, it was a lot of fun. Kids liked it.
That's very cool. And that's the bottom line, where the kids have fun.
Yeah.
And Remelian agrees. And Rodman's Halloween Purge now on
That would be excellent because I would be dressed up as Hagrid fighting off all the people. That would be worth it. I would do it just to watch that.
I would do that too. That does sound like a worthwhile ambition there. And Ted Davis Artistry, we have no trick or treaters by the cemetery, so Chris is trying to recruit people by bringing them their snot gobblers here. What a colorful turn of phrase. That's why you need an editor. And Donna Garley, I think the trunk or treat fills a void for kids whose neighborhoods aren't good to trick or treat. Yeah. That's a very good point. And it's probably, especially in the last 2 years, probably a bit safer.
Yeah. I think a lot of families opt to do that because of safety.
Yeah, it works for me. And Remelian says, I think it's fun, but it feels super creepy. I've been seeing car costumes for it that make the trunk look like a goofy monster. It's pretty fun.
Yeah.
Now that could be fun.
Now, the only time, this is how you don't do trunk or treat if you're an adult. Don't bring your unmarked van that says candy inside and you know, chase the kids around. Don't do that. Brian, don't do that. There you go.
Does that also apply to the ice cream truck that has no ice cream too?
That is also true. Yes.
With
what is it?
Skelter, but with
Oh
bells.
gosh, with the ice cream man horror movie outfit. Oh, that would be perfect.
Yeah,
so
it's
fun.
righteous. I love it. And Historical Fencing Guild says Brian R. is planning a Halloween Rising Tide trick or treat convention on his front lawn.
Bring it on. Let's do it.
All right, you heard him. You heard him.
Yep. See you then.
I'm going to be leaving HoloCon early. Then it sounds like we're going to take this joy.
The police say they don't know how the riot started exactly, and yet they're tracing it down to some sort of a comic book spectrum show on the internet.
It was just a bunch of adults chasing children off the grass. We don't understand how it started, but we're here at 11 to tell you more about it.
And shut up at
11.
Trying to do a
We have 8 charred bodies here in a front lawn for a convention that really wasn't supposed to happen.
That's right. There we go.
I didn't really mean for people to bring flamethrowers. Right, Brian. Thanks for the suggestion.
And of course, we here at Rising Tide, the Rising Tide Broadcast Network, do not advocate any sort of violence, especially the flamethrowers, which you can emulate by using a can of shaving cream and a cigar. Yeah, I saw Live and Let Die too. Anyway, I have a big free tacos for redhead sign on my van. Does that count as Carl Witz? It depends. It depends. Do you get the season's quota of redheads? You know, do you have your redhead hunting license?
And to actually have free tacos, because I will dye my hair and come by your van. I mean, I'll do almost anything for a taco. I'm just saying. Take that note down too, Brian.
I'll do almost anything for
And here comes the mature label. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it left the room. It's like, this is more than I can handle here. I'm out of here. Sarah, ever the encourager, goes, yes, do that. And thank you, Brian. This is exactly where my brain goes, especially with the black phone
Yes.
coming out.
Ooh, that movie looks so good. Oh, it looks so good.
Oh, and BK already has the unmarked van from his pre-cookie days. That's true. That's true. You never know. These things, it's only been 30 years. You never know if it's going to last. So anyway, and yes, Donna knows where Carl's van could be. And Carl Remelian says she's a redhead. I'd steal the taco van. And being goth, I look normal this time of year. This is one time Sarah blends right into the audience, so it's kind of like a fun thing. And as God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
You're rushing the season, man.
Oh my God, the world has came to an end.
Today says Carl, send a dress. Christopher wants tacos. And Remelian's making notes. Yeah. And Brian Rodman cosplays as Jessica Rabbit for tacos.
Hey man, it you know, if you want to visualize that and burn your corneas out, that's fine. I get a taco.
And homie the clown is gonna get you. Exactly. Sarah says Remelian.
Oh god.
Follow us for more Halloween treats. So, what was the show about? Oh yeah, comic books. Yeah, that's
show about.
Yeah, I had a moment there. I had a senile moment there.
This was more like Never Mind the Furthermore than anything else for a minute.
I know. I mean, God have mercy on our souls as a result. So, tell you what, why don't we start with Brian, then Joe, then Clyde, me, then Clyde, the usual order, and do some comic book reviews.
Sounds good to me.
All right. So
Let's
we'll start with Mr. Rodman here. Brian, what have you got for us to read this week?
Well, this week is a little different. I'm going to be doing a digital comic again because a new Comixology original came out by Scott Snyder and Francesco Francavilla.
Nice.
And it is called Night of the Ghoul.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Yeah, sorry for the ghetto review looking here. Here we go. It's not very great on the phone, but that's all I have. And it's written by Scott Snyder. Art and colors are both done by Francisco Francavilla, and the lettering is done by Ann World Design. And I got to tell you, if you're not familiar with Francisco's work, oh gosh, go follow him on Instagram. He does some of the best horror work you've ever seen. And I gotta say, when the first Batman reveal came out of the new Batmobile that's in Robert Pattinson's movie, a lot of people were saying that they ripped it off of Francisco's design because he did a whole print run of like the 1970s version of Batman. And the Batmobile was literally, it looks exactly the same. So, like, minor differences. So the verdict's still out on whether or not they both had the same idea, or if DC was just like, nah, we're taking that. So, which could have been. But anyway, Night of the Ghoul is a really fun first issue. It's perfect for this time of year. It opens on a moonlit cemetery road. And if you can tell, there's a nice shadowy hand going down the road in the spotlight. And it's a father and son. They are going to a senior care center. And, they're talking to each other as they drive. And the son really didn't want to be there. But they're both... it's revealed that who they are going to see, they've driven a long way to go see, and they have lied multiple times to get this information of where this person is, and you don't really know what's going on here at all. So they pull up to the house, which that vaguely looks like a skeleton, which I giggled. That was pretty cool. And I do like this. It's broken up, like after the introduction, it's broken up into like parts. So this is part one. Again, absolutely love this artwork. I wish it wasn't, it didn't even come out I'm sure it's coming out in a trade paperback when it's all said and done. But unfortunately it is not. You can only get it on Comixology right now because it's a Comixology original. So anyway, the father and son get to the senior rest center, and they walk in. They're greeted by the person in charge, and they believe that the father is actually an insurance agent who is there to, sign some papers, meet with his client, get everything squared away, and leave. And that, of course, is not who this man is. It is revealed that this man is simply a fan of this old director who is very ill and made a movie a long time ago called Night of the Ghoul. And it was destroyed in a fire, or so we thought. We meet the old man, and he is very much ghoul looking himself, laid up in his chair, and or in his bed. And they begin to discuss, who the father reveals who he really is. He says, "Hey, I'm a fan. I love, this movie." And the old guy looks very disturbed, very worried. And he says, "Wait, you've seen it?" And he pulls out the film. And the guy says, "I have, I was able to hunt down and retrieve pieces of the film. So I haven't seen the whole thing, but I've seen some of it. And just by this panel right here, you can tell that the old man does not approve and is very disturbed at this fact." And then I love this. It breaks in between that conversation in this issue, that conversation, and the night that the movie was shown. The only time anyone ever watched the movie. And so we break out, and it's back in the, the early 1930s or 20s. It doesn't really say. And this is the older gentleman who is introducing in front of the drawn curtain or the closed curtain, the night of the ghoul, and he, shows it off. And then we start watching the movie. Which I thought was a really cool way to tell the story. And so you're constantly going back and forth between this World War I movie called Night of the Ghoul and this conversation between this man and the old director. And there just seems to be, you get some good character development throughout. You don't really know what's happening yet. Even when you finish the first issue, there is a bigger twist. And I don't want to give that away. I really enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun. This issue has a haunting feel to the whole thing because of the facial expressions, the reaction of the old director, and the deep concern that he shows for having, the deep concern that he shows that this man has watched this film, or at least parts of it. And I can't really say too much other than that because it's so it's such a good twist, such a good story. And again, this is just issue 1, so we don't have a ton of answers, but you have enough to get really invested. And that's what I love about this story. I think it does a very good job of getting you hooked. So that's the first thing you want out of an issue 1. The art is amazing. The writing is, of course, great because it's Scott Snyder. He knows how to tell a story through comics. It's creative storytelling because you get to know the fictional characters in the fictional piece. So it's the fiction within the fiction, which I really like. You get to know them, and you get to know this complicated character of this father, and of course the son is he stayed off in the lobby. He doesn't really want anything to do with it. Didn't want to be there anyway. But then in those interactions between the son and the workers, you also start picking up a couple things like maybe these healthcare workers that are taking care of this old director aren't who they seem to be. And there's just a lot of that in this. There's a lot of like making you question and not trusting a lot of people in this issue, which is perfect for the direction I think the story is going. So overall, Night of the Ghoul, I would say this. If you like old Universal movies, you're going to like this because it has that it's not, scary. It is that old spooky tone that's telling a very, very good story. And this one is all character development, and it really piques your curiosity and really piques your interest. So it's a horror story and a mystery all at the same time. It's great. Somebody's phone is just going off, and I think. But are you guys hearing that too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we got.
Okay. I was making sure it wasn't me.
It was on people that made my pacemaker telling me my warranties expired.
Well, anyway, Night of the Ghoul was great. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I signed up to get the next issue on Comixology, and I give this a solid. I give it a 10 out of 10. It is that good. It brought back all of the nostalgic feelings of watching an old Universal horror movie, not even a monster movie. Although this is the direction it's going. The ghoul isn't really revealed, but kind of is. You'll see. Go read it. If you enjoy that kind of stuff, if any of this piqued your interest, you're going to love it. So yeah, I can't say enough good things about this. This is a great first issue. Yeah, It's fantastic. Piqued my interest all the way through. 10 out of 10.
Wow.
Beautiful.
Sounds great.
Does sound good, and I'm a fan of both Snyder and the artist. I first noticed his work on it was an old, I think, no, it wasn't cross-gen, but he did kind of like a pirate story or something.
Oh yeah, he does really cool creative stuff with all of his artwork. I know, right? I think it's him. I saw earlier that he did a piece called Thorer, and it's essentially a demon-possessed version of Thor.
Oh, nice. Well, he also
cool.
did Afterlife with Archie.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he did. Yes,
and regularly does pinups for the Archie variant covers that are always exceptional. So that's I think that's I've never thought about subscribing to a comic online, but I think I may have found my first.
Yeah, it's really cool. I like that Comixology did this. I think it's I love Comixology. I like the format. I love scrolling panel by panel. That to me, that just gives it a whole new world. Doing it that way, and I love it. But I love my physical books too. So
well, don't be so grim about that, because with everything being done out of the Kindle store, it does have the KDP option where if they decide to do it, you could purchase it directly as a physical printed book.
Cool. All right, great.
Again, always promoting. Go back and watch the Comixology to KDP episode that I did, because we was looking into all of that, and I actually had problems trying to get everything formatted into KDP for actual print, so I gave up on it for right now. But there is options where you can port everything over, where if they want it in physical, they can opt for it.
That's cool. I like that.
So don't be surprised later on that happens.
Oh yeah, no, I like I said, I'm pretty sure they're going to do a trade paperback of this when it's all said and done anyway. So I'll definitely get the digital issues individually, and then I'll just get the trade paperback because I'm going to want it.
Yeah. Clyde, did you have something to say?
This is about the third time in a year here that I have come across a story that is about either a lost film, a cursed film that was lost, or one that was not completed. But when you started off, I'm like, here's another one of the. But they've all been different and they've all been good. So it's kind of a subclass right now of a horror story, and they're all horror stories.
Oh
so this is not like a lost great movie that you restore so that an aging star can go, oh look, somebody put my movie back together. Oh no.
This is lost for a reason.
Yes, exactly. But that's very cool. That sounds good. I want to check that out.
Yeah, I will.
It's really fun. Yeah.
And I seem to remember. I think I reviewed one by Ed Brubaker and what's his name, Phillips. That was a detective detective one-shot graphic novel, but it was all about a piece of film about the LA subculture at the time that he was trying to find, because of somebody that may have been in it. So yeah. Maybe it might be a new emerging genre now. Who knows? Renmelian says, nice, like the art. Historical Fencing Guild says, okay, I am adoring this comic. And Donna Carlene says, great art.
And if you liked the art just from my, screen to screen, which I hate that's, that was how I had to show it. But you're going to love the colors in this art. If you're familiar with Francovilla's, art, it's spot on the whole time. Really, really well done.
That's great. And KDP can be challenging, says the Historical Fencing Guild. That's true. But they are working on it. Let's hope so. And he goes on to say, I will take a commission to draw fan art of Rodman as Jessica Rabbit. So line up, kids.
Who's ever gonna pay for that?
Who can we start a fund to not do it?
Let's pay you not to do it. I think that's a better option here.
Wow.
I love it. That's funny. I love that. So anyway, now that we have gone through that, thank you, Brian. That was great.
Yeah.
That was seriously great. And speaking of seriously great, let's turn to Joe D. McFee. Joe, you ready for us?
Oh, I got to put on a couple different hats here as I go through go
You
through
want this
the
one?
review.
You need
No,
it?
no, 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 no,
Okay,
no.
okay,
That's
just making
iconic.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, we'll give you the spotlight here, Joe D. McFee.
Now, those of you who have been following me from the very beginning, I have called it like I saw it way back when, all the way back in Future State. I told people, watch out for this person right here, Yara Fleur. Why? Because she's going to be the next greatest thing in DC Comics. And lo and behold, what did I do on my very first appearance here on Comic Book Spectrum? And here's where I go into announcer voice. Previously on Wonder Girl. In my very first appearance on Comic Book Spectrum, we went through Wonder Girl #1, where we talked about Yara Fleur coming back to Brazil for the first time after a long while and everything, and all this weird stuff was happening. It's like you had all these different factions of Amazons worried about what will be the outcome, because now is the time for Yara to really take the reins and everything, especially after what had happened to her with Ares when she was about 5 or 6 years old. So it was a great mystery about what was going to happen, and it ended up with her being tossed into like this one river and everything, and we don't know what this sea creature was going to do to her. If you haven't paid attention to that much, go back and watch my very first appearance on Comic Book Spectrum to get the full review on that. Which brings us to issue #2. Where were you last week when I did this one on my show? Again, previously on Wonder Girl. We finally got the resolution that we wanted. That sea creature happened to be one of the legendary Amazons for that area in Brazil. And it told about her story and how Yara ended up inheriting her weapon, or what would eventually become her lasso of truth. So Yara's adventure of becoming a legendary Amazon begins here. So when we was talking about the other factions here of Amazons, she actually was attacked by one faction on an airplane. However, the faction that was led by Hippolyta ended up sending Cassandra Sandsmark to look for her, and the faction that was being governed by Nubia sent Artemis. So now you got all three factions trying to find Yara to either stop her from achieving her destiny and everything, all in one fell swoop. So pretty much when Cassandra and Artemis found one another, they ended up getting to like this major fisticuffs here, and then they was broken up by the other faction. Meanwhile, Yara pretty much, escaped, saved all these people here that from where she got attacked while on the plane. And lo and behold, here is Eros. And then the legend about Eros happened, meaning that they was talking about, can Eros actually resist his own power if he was ever pierced by one of his arrows? And that ended up happening. So if you want more details about this one, go back and watch my episode from last week. Where were you? Which brings us to today's review. And now for our feature presentation, Wonder Girl #3.
Nice.
So Wonder Girl #3, written by Janelle Jones, drawn by Janelle Jones and Andriana Mello, and colored by Miss Belair. Nice, pretty cover too.
Jordan.
You have this as an option or that as an option, which I also thought was a pretty cover as well.
It was nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
So we start out with the end result of what was going on with the down airplane. Yara's love interest finally comes out, was trying to figure out what was going on and everything. But again, Yara doesn't know that Eros is there. He's already been pierced, and he's like looking at all of this and trying to figure out the best way to deal with his situation, which was he was charged to bring her back to Mount Olympus. So he takes another aim at her, shoots, and then another creature comes up behind him. Yara and her and the person that likes her sees the arrow that's like, well, what's going on? And they turn around and see this creature. Eros is like, okay, fine. I'm just going to go deeper into the where there was at, into the forest where they was at here. So you see him running away from the creature. It seems like the land is attacking Eros for some reason, and nobody knows what's going on. Yara just goes running after him. And the significant other is like, wait, hold up. We don't know what's going on. So she goes deeper into the forest. And this is where she starts seeing all these different creatures and all these different beings and everything. And they're not really after her. They're pretty much was like, hey, we're trying to protect you. And this alligator-like creature was like, trying to get her to understand. It's like, no, this is a part of your destiny. It's like, you're really more part of what's going on here as far as your ancestry is concerned. Meanwhile, switching back to where they're at in the main part of Sao Paulo, we have another major fight between the three factions here, and pretty much, Artemis and Cassandra did their thing, dispatched the other Amazons and whatnot, and they decided to kind of like team up to figure out what was really going on behind the scenes here. With where they're at in Brazil. Again, they're not familiar with the Amazons that are down there. Again, passing by all the advertisements and everything. So now we go back into the middle of the Amazon forest, and we see Yara actually wield her version of the lasso again, and seeing everything for what it was. And then she sees like this one other creature, and she decides to kind of pull back at the last second after seeing it. And they're still trying to figure out what gives out of all things. And then out of nowhere, she's like, what's going on? Who are you? It's like, and then Eros is like, pretty much just like, no, you have to come with me. You don't understand. You have to come with me. And then that's when she realized that she got hit by the arrow. And then the arrow disappears. And she's kind of like in this spell, it's like, is she really up under the spell of Eros at that point? And that's when she kind of like had to make a decision here. She's kind of like looking back at the person that she really likes, and then Eros is standing there, and she's trying to tell us like, I feel funny. I don't know what's going on. And she's like, no, you have to stay here. And then Eros like, no, you have to come with me. And she pretty much chooses to go with Eros at the very end, because it's like this whole dramatic scene about what she's going to choose and everything. And then, the spirits of the Amazon force is trying to convince her to stay with old dude. And she decides that she's going to go with Eros at the time, sharing the whole tier and everything to that magnitude. And then she makes a promise that she's going to come back for him. Meanwhile, the scene shifts again to like this one falls that's in Brazil, where Cassandra and Artemis is there, and they're like scouting the area and whatnot, and they come across one of the Amazons of that area, I should say. And pretty much, Cassandra kind of like made herself the bait only for Artemis to kind of like, no, we need to know who you are and who side that you represent. And then back at the Amazon forest, this is going to be the catch-all here that makes you want to get the next book. Because again, Janelle Jones has been throwing like fastballs and curveballs to kind of keep you guessing what's going to happen next. But I never saw this coming here. Mind you, Eros is there to bring her back to face the Greek gods. But I don't think that's going to happen here. So back at the Amazon rainforest, big to do and everything, then poof, she's in Greek garb and everything, and they're back on Mount Olympus, and she's seeing Mount Olympus for the very first time. She's kind of asking Eros about everything that's going on. He really not letting her know much of anything until out of nowhere, she gets to meet for the very first time Hera, and it ends there.
Cool.
So now we're at the point where she's going to learn more about her heritage and destiny. The question is, will she attain that destiny? With the way that they've been telling the story here, and if you've been following through the rest of my reviews for Wonder Girl, Janelle Jones is doing her thing. She's throwing you that clincher, that thing that makes you want to go to and get that next book, and ending these issues the correct way. She's giving you that roller coaster ride that you need to help you understand what Yara really is going to end up becoming in the long run. So just for the ride alone, it's worth your money to invest in Wonder Girl. Not because I'm a Wonder Woman fan, it's just more about the ride. It's like Future State was like a one set story, but even the way that Janelle told that story, it was a story that led you on a ride to understand the greater overarching premise, which was she was doing all of this to save somebody who she lost from Hades. However, that individual ended up saving her again. So now we're into Wonder Girl, and now we're looking at her destiny in that same aspect. We don't know what she's meant to be in the stance of all the different Amazons that they are. She is like at this point, she's at the point where she could become greater than Diana. We don't know. But what the other Amazons fear is that it could bring the end of their overarching. Don't worry about that. That's just something a book that fell behind. Don't worry about that. It could, anyway, but it could mean a problem in the long run for the other Amazons as far as what they hold as tradition. And the Amazons that we knew and about back from all the other days of Wonder Woman could be changed because of something that happens with Yara. That's the ride that we want to go on. Now, taking a look at issue number 3, out of a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 9.5 out of 10. Nice. Because Janelle Jones is constantly adding on to the mystery of what she really is or who she's going to end up becoming. I can't really say no more than that, other than go back and watch the other episodes.
All on the Rising Tide Broadcast Network.
That's right.
Yes, exactly.
All right. That's super. That does sounds good. I think that's one of those books that I definitely need to read, at least when it hits the trade paperbacks.
Especially after this first story arc is done, it's worth a trade paperback.
Yeah.
I gotta say that alligator creature was freaking cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Can you show that again? I really liked how he looked.
Yeah.
Does he pop
I
up
think
a
how
whole lot?
she was. I think it was a female because it was calling her like a misguided child. it's like you don't. It's like you're not understanding everything, and just, even the werewolf-looking creature was just like awesome, just standing in the background.
Oh, that's so
Yeah,
cool.
that's sweet.
Oh, that's so cool.
Nice
And
design.
then, you know, it's just like the creatures of all the forest taking on human characteristics, or more like the nightmare creature type stuff. Like even the werewolf.
Oh, yeah.
It's like he's just standing there. It's like, I'm really not doing anything. The fact that she pulled back at the last second because she recognized that he was innocent. He's not trying to do anything to them. And then how the other creatures were just trying to call out to her, like the little bitty imp there.
Yeah.
And then, you know, your favorite alligator creature and the werewolf standing there trying to, you know, talk some sense to her about not going.
Yeah. I may have to get this book just for them. That's freaking cool looking.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That hits all my horror buttons.
Mhm. I've been
That
getting all
is-
the issues, but have they been late on some of the releases, Joe?
Have they been late? No.
No? Okay. My shop has been
this
having
is
trouble
correct.
getting them.
This,
No.
for some reason, I believe came out at the very beginning of the month. Because I was up here thinking, it's like, where is Wonder Girl #4? And then I found out that Wonder Girl 4 is not coming out until November. So this had to be the most recent issue.
Okay. Because I got them all, but I had to wait.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it was the shop or if they were. I was hoping it wasn't the creative team, you know, not making deadline. Because, man, that has killed so many good stories. And this is excellent. This has
Mhm.
been everything that you said, and, you know, taking characters that exist and building on them. You know, it is a great title. One of DC's best things right now, I think.
It's a hidden gem, and that's the thing that I'm trying to really emphasize to everybody.
Right.
I called it all the way back in Future State on my show. This is a hidden gem because of the simple fact that she's a brand new character who had the title of Wonder Woman, and they told a story that brought you into what she is capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun. It wasn't, you know, gritty. It didn't take any pretense as far as anything political.
No.
And then you get into her book as the next Wonder Girl, and it just
And like things like Cassie and Artemis deciding to team up, and yet we're not really teamed up because we're at different ends. It's that dialogue, their conversation, every scene, it plays against the dramatic part very well. Very good balance. It's a joy. It's a real joy to read.
I believe that Artemis and Cassie are going to find out the true aspect of what an Amazon is in Brazil.
Yeah.
That's the aspect that they don't know about.
Right.
That never get talked about ever since Amazon's attack. We never talk about the other factions like they're doing now.
Right. It's the foundation on which a lot of future stories can be based, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It's that good. It's that solid. I would be surprised if it does not become that.
That would be cool. That'd be cool. Yeah, that sounds really good. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate
No
it.
problem.
Good stuff. Good stuff. And definitely check out our back issues of the from the desk of a small press publisher, and follow him because every Saturday night at 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central, he delivers a lot of great content if you love comic books. So definitely check that out. All right. So
And go back and watch my first appearance again.
yes, by
Yes.
all means.
My first appearance here I'm telling you, I started there. I felt bad that I had to do issue 2 on my show, but I saved the good stuff for you guys.
Thank you. Much appreciated. And much appreciated as Molly Daniels is watching on the sly wall at the evening job. Mwah, glad to see you
Yep.
here. Donna
We're
Carly
safe for work. Sure we are. Yeah.
Everybody talk softly so we don't get her in trouble. And Donna Carleen says Wonder Girl looks like Lucy Lawless / Xena. Don't say that like it's a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing, but I don't consider Lucy Lawless as a Brazilian.
No, that's true. That's true. And you know, they are maintaining the ethnic look,
Mm-hmm.
which is kind of cool. And Joelle Jones, I think she doing Catwoman about a year ago, and doing a damn fine job of it.
Yep.
So she's going to be a writer to watch. And going back to our earlier comments about Brian's cosplay, I will accept the reverse stripper rate of paying me not to publish the art. This is, of course, a threat. Well, I'll show you a threat, young man. I'll show you a threat. While I was listening to the thing, I was sketching. Okay, and I will be selling prints of this at HoloCon of Brian as Jessica Johnson, 11 by 17 full color prints of Brian, and of course, note it's him. And,
easy stomach.
It could have been better, but anyway, So see me at HoloCon. We'll have prints of that, and Brian will autograph them when you bring them, or he'll pay you $20 to take it out of your hands and set it on fire. I
will say this: that picture is well drawn, but so horrifying that I feel like John Carpenter made a movie of it. When people see it, their eyes melt into their brains, and there's mass chaos in the streets. What have you done, sir? What have you done?
I think I found a way to spend a great Thursday night.
Happy Halloween, everybody!
People like boom the eyeball.
At least one thing, Mr. Rodman, he did it in the style of Super Jail, so you can't be mad at that.
That is true. That is true.
There
it is. The beard and everything.
You're a DC character now.
My gosh, that's
Brian drew you.
That's right. It shows you exactly why I decided to focus on my writing. Anyway,
well, you got. Hey, you know what? You got the boobs right. So there you go.
There you go. Yes, and I
and he used the corset too.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
true.
That's true.
Yeah, I never go a day without wearing my corset. In fact, so you did a fantastic job. Good depiction.
Thank you. Well, at Imaginarium, you thought I was just staring, off into space. No, I was studying every line, every curve of your body, knowing that this moment would one day arrive.
Well, you brought terror to the masses now. So well done.
Thank you.
Wait, let's see. Does Luna approve? Do you approve?
Hey, Luna, take a look at this, huh? How would you like this, pet?
She's out of here. She says no.
I give it one tail up.
Yeah.
You're like, I'll show you what I think of it.
She says, check out me arse. Look at it. There it is. I don't know why she's a Scottish pirate, but
She has many things to many people. Johnny Cage, JP7, Sao Paulo is a war zone. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And Sarah says there's a man who goes to Midgard Comics in Charleston, Illinois, every Wednesday. Too, we've been getting acquainted. I asked if the comics he gets are for his personal collection because he spends $300 every time. After that, I stopped feeling like a fiend as much. Sarah, who only spends every dollar she gets on this addiction of hers, and well done, young lady. So when I worked in the comic shop, there were people that would drop a couple $100s at a time on comics. So it's whatever makes you happy. And let's see, and they are for his personal collection, and somebody who should be in your personal collection is John Celestri. John, brother, good to see you. Yep. John Celestri is the newest member of the Rising Tide broadcast family.
Woohoo!
Thank you, John.
Welcome to the party, pal.
That's right. He is the OG of animation art, and he's going to be showing us how he plies his trade. I think it's Wednesday afternoons. But anyway, please follow him on his YouTube channel. Please subscribe and ring that little bell so you can be notified of all things John Celestri. John, it is a pleasure to have you here, and welcome aboard. And of course they are, says Donna Carlene, and everyone's saying hello to John, and John says hi back, and didn't mean it's a bad thing. I like it. And historical Fencing Guild, Big Cam, what do you think I have been doing rendered in full digital color. The Battle of the Artists.
Ooh.
We're getting a
Man.
twofer now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
And
boy.
Carl Witzman says, I'm just as terrified as Luna.
Yep, that's the correct response, Carl.
Yeah, and Donna is trying to appease the feline goddess and blowing kisses. Unfortunately, where Luna is puckering up, you don't want it in return. So, anyway, keep those comments coming, folks. We love it. You're a part of the show now. You're part of the damage being done to the interwebs. And so now I think I will take a turn.
Yeah.
This may not take too long. Thank you, guys. Because I actually didn't find that much at the comic store this week. I was looking at some new titles, but none of them grabbed me. As it was, I picked up only 3 bits of funny book stuff. And we'll just and here we go. And moving right along as we say goodbye to the rails. And author Michaela J. Mwah, hey there, guys. I just finished one project. Good for you, girl. And now I'm on to the next. No rest for the wicked. Isn't it glorious? Anyway, before you think it's never mind the furthermore, here's the reviews of this week. First off is the second issue of Batman versus Bigby. The Batman and Fables crossover done on the DC Black Label. This is a cover by Yannick Paquette and Nathan Fairburn. It's really nice, and it is evocative of what's inside. Okay, so kudos to DC for finally shaping up on it. And I also want to say that we've been taking DC to task for only having ads that either deal with DC itself or DC-related projects. But this time we have something for Adult Swim with a new Blade Runner. Looks like an animated thing. And Rue Morgue magazine. So that's 2 pages. Hopefully trying to defray some of the costs of putting out this book. Now, one thing I will tell you, it is really obvious in this book, this is not in mainstream continuity. Aside from, some things where I'm not sure that Batman and Alfred are acting the way they would have. But in this one, we find out that not only is it isn't enough that Bruce Wayne gets young kids, puts them in funny, bright outfits, and then endangers them on a regular basis. He is now having Dick Grayson, and yes, it is Dick Grayson dressed as Robin, having these guys beat the crap out of each other to see who is the best candidate to be the next Robin. And they find one here, and Robin dispenses wisdom in here, such as look for the places where bones can be made to bend in directions they weren't designed to go. Nothing like a broken finger to make a perp question his life choices. And remember your ABCs, always be conquering. Thanks, Dick. Anyway, the mystery deepens with Bigby Wolf. And I finally remembered Eric Hawkins reviewed the first issue of this. And at one point, Bigby Wolf meets up with reporter Molly Grace and calls her Cindy. And that's a clue to who she really is. Remember, the Fables, great series. Pick it up. I do recommend it highly. It's fairy tale and legendary characters have escaped into our world, seeking refuge from an enemy. Cindy is short for Cinderella.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then there is a scene where Bigby Wolf confronts Batman at a big party. And all of this is a countdown to a big event that happens on the last page that we won't show you. It still's a good, solid read, but there's just some stuff. Just keep in mind, this is not in continuity, I would say, for either franchise. That thing with what? Let's take the strongest of the kids and put them in tight costumes. Wortham may have been right. So anyway, let's go to another book. Now, last month we did not tell you of the what went on, the ending, because I don't reveal endings unless they really suck. Hashtag checkmate. But anyway, this is another comic. Kudos to DC. That's the Kent Farm. This actually,
wow.
This actually happens in the book. everyone's here. Tom Taylor, writer. This month is replaced by Danielle DiNicuolo. And there is one, it's a more kind of like a manga influence. You can see Superboy's eyes in panel 2 there. And we find out that Superboy's, or Superman, I should say, his house guest is what they call post-human. And the lady with the gravity powers is also post-human. The Justice League shows up, and there is one really nice touch here where in the first panel there, Flash takes Superboy aside, or Superman. I keep calling him Superboy. He's Superman now in this book. That's why it's called Superman, Son of Kal-El. Read the whole thing, Brian. Anyway, he goes, "Oh, by the way, my name is Wally West." And Superman is like, "Why?" And he goes, Wally says, "I know what it's like to step into the boots of your idol. We can talk anytime you want." Okay. And he does confront Henry Bendix as the leader of that foreign country. And there is a trap here that at first it wasn't very clear in the art what was happening. I think it was a storytelling fall down. But the ending is quite, it's a good cliffhanger. But like I said, John Timms is not drawing this issue. And no, this is not the one with the smooch. That's next issue. So if you're expecting to put your kid through college with this, be sure to go to your local comic mongers. You should still be able to get the first 4 issues of this book, which has been a solid read so far. But this is super. Literally, it's super. Best magazine this week, though, was Vampirist Carmilla, with the very last artwork done by the late Rich Corbin. And it's a beauty. It's worth having just for that. But it's the usual assemblage of great art and really strong storytelling, and it's just a joy to read this and shudder. There's short stories. Joe was talking about last week with his review of that one horror comic that will never cross my desk ever. This is about weirdness and how normal people react to it, and how they deal with it, and whether they're good or not, or whether it has the O. Henry ending. But anyway, this one is definitely worthwhile. Now, something else that has come out the last couple of weeks, and I say this as I'm not just a DC shill. I'm also a Tomorrow's Publishing shill, because I've worked for them for about 20 years as a transcriber and writer. One of the things that I think we all agree on this panel is the absence of a knowledge of this great art form by many of the people that claim to love it. And if you want a very painless lesson in what is going on in comics, both past and present, or more recent, these have come out within the last 2 weeks at your newsstands. One is Back Issue Magazine. This issue examines the impact of Jack Kirby's return to DC in the early 70s. And covers characters like Commandy and the Demon and, In the Days of the Mob, all the great stuff that Kirby left behind at DC upon his return after the Marvel Age of Comics, with a number of really great writers and a lot of art that you won't see anywhere else. There's also Comic Book Creator, which tends to take a look at more contemporary artists as well as underground. It's a very well-rounded magazine, and it'll give you an idea. And there's a big article, an interview with Terry Dodson, who's he's done a lot of different comics. The most recent one that I've read was Adventure Man, and it was amazing. And then this isn't really comics per se, but this is, and I should say this is edited by John B. Cook, and Retrofan and Back Issue are edited by Michael Urey, who's a former editor at DC and Comico. And this one is more about general nostalgia, but it covers things like the Aurora monster model kits, as well as the illustrator of those, who I discovered recently was James Bama.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, who did those classic Doc Savage covers in the
Mhm.
60s and 70s, plus an interview with Laura Parker from the original Dark Shadows series, Mad Monster Parties, uh, Monster Squad, Celebrity Crushes, and Rankin Bass's Mad Monster Party, and just all kinds of great in-depth writing on nostalgia. I definitely recommend these. Depending on your interests, I'm giving each of these like a 10 out of 10. It's a great way to learn. Also, check out Alter Ego magazine, written by the great Roy Thomas, if you want to learn about pre-Silver Age comics, going up from like the beginning of comics to 1970. Also, the Jack Kirby Collector, which of course focuses on Steve Ditko. No, you know what I'm talking about. Vampirus Carmilla was excellent. If you like horror, 10 out of 10. If you don't like horror, 9.9. Okay. Superman, because you don't know it's good. Anyway, Superman, Son of Kal-El, I'm giving this a 9.5. It is expanding the mystery. The 0.5 is really, I have to say, for the part of the storytelling. It just didn't click with me. But otherwise, it was good. It was good stuff. And this one, I'm kind of downgrading. This kind of reads like it may be better if you read the whole thing at once, like Fables, but Bill Willingham's writing a pretty decent story here otherwise, but don't consider it in continuity. I'm giving this like an 8.5 out of 10. And that is my reviews for this week. So,
it almost sounded like Rick Veitch's take with the Brat Pack for the Robin element of that story that you're talking about, which is
great series.
Pretty hard. It was pretty harsh back in the day, and it doesn't sound like it's gotten any less harsh. Basically, having kids vie for the chance to be a sidekick by doing in the others, and then the sidekicks, of course, they're a merchandising tool to fund the superhero. So they have to be replaced if they get killed in combat, which they tend to do a lot, but nobody knows. Yeah.
And there was a little disturbing moment where Robin picked out one candidate who might excel in various bits of brutality towards the criminal element, and Robin asked Batman, said, well, would you like to say hello to him? He'd be thrilled. And Batman's like, no, you all good news will come from you. I'm the bad cop. And I'm like, wow. So anyway, but it's well constructed. It's Bill Willingham, who's normally very, he just about everything I've ever read of his writing or art, I have enjoyed. Mm-hmm. So the craft is there, if nothing else. So anyway, we've got some more comments here, and let's see. Michaela goes, "Oh, this is better. Facebook sucks. Facebook sucks anyway." Yep. So that's what we keep talking about. And Carl's got a seat for Michaela. We saved you a seat at the Cool Kids table. Oh, good, because I just finished my latest editing job for Prose Press. Now I can focus on my stuff and Keisha's book. Very well. Good for you. Good for you. And sit by me and have Carl drool at you, or sit by him and risk being touched. Ooh. Oh, my God. This is getting good.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, where's my okay, hold on a second. I think we
there we
go. I should have had this up at the beginning. But anyway, and let's see. And here we go. Sarah's showing some good taste. I got a comic, Peter Porker, Adventures of Spider-Man. It was too hilarious to pass up. My friend Michael Urey, who edits a couple of magazines for tomorrows.com, and it's TWO Morrows, by the way. And he wrote Spider-Ham for a while with a picture of a pig looking like he's dressed as Spider-Man. Yeah. Also part of the Spider-Verse too.
Oh, you gotta see the animated movie if you haven't seen it.
Oh
yeah, that is
so good.
That's
honestly it's the best Spider-Man movie that's ever been made.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
the Spider-Verse. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, seriously,
it didn't do nearly enough business. So send them your dollar because
they've earned it. And Historical Fencing Guild says, check the Uncle Carl's Secret Humor Group, gentlemen. Oh dear God! One of
Oh,
you may
no.
have to venture over there. But anyway,
You know what? I'll do it.
it's been good to know you, sir. We'll make sure
Yeah.
people sing praises of your bravery.
Oh,
But
no.
and Uncle Carl's
Oh, I'm
secret.
tagged. Oh, dear God.
Is this something we can share on screen or should?
I don't know. Mature
Okay,
things
I'll-
out, right?
I'm
I'll
heading
look
there
at-
now. I'm heading there now. I'm about to see this.
Feast your eyes.
Oh,
That's right.
baby! Holy!
My gosh, that's
Can we
terrifying.
Do it
famine
again,
our
Brian. Do
eyes?
it again.
Oh,
Oh
feel,
yeah!
everyone feel your pupil. Oh gosh, look at that leg. Feel
Please
the
finish that sentence.
yeah, feel your pupils being engulfed in fire, everyone. That's right. There you go. Get all close to the important parts.
Oh,
There
the free
you
tacos.
go.
That's important.
Yeah, stare into my eyes and you will feel soulless.
I like the cleavage on the half shell. That's pretty cool.
What is happening here? Like, are these? I just want to know: are these shells or are they pumpkins? That's what I want to know. What's happening? And then, of course,
Since it's you, it's got to be pumpkins.
yeah. Like my legs have never looked this good. What? This is terrifying, Nick. But well done.
Oh, Nick is going to start doing our cards every week now.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are. But you started to think about about pube, and I'm like, no, please finish that word, please, for the love of God. And those are never good words to hear, says Carl Witzman. And Sarah, yeah, check them out. Start at the very first one and start reading. And there are some spin-offs from it that are also very good. But it comes to a satisfying end during the last book. And I think there's like 12, 15 volumes of it in trade paperback from DC Vertigo Comics. And Brian got tagged by Nick. And about Carl's Secret Humor Group, he goes, I'll never go in that group again.
That's because it's your fault, Carl, for the ban.
Yeah.
Oh, and then Davies goes, OMG, my eyes! No, it hurt!
Yep. Told you. I warned you.
That's
You
right.
can't say that I didn't.
And Brian,
Blumpkins.
And Historical Fencing Guild says, I never bluff. They are pumpkins.
I knew it. That's
Oh.
right. My man boobs can handle the pumpkins. That's how it works.
Are
That's how it
those
works.
stems, or is he just glad to see us?
Yeah, I use my nipples to carve pumpkins. That's what that means. There you go.
You must live in a colder part of the country than the rest of us. I tell you.
No, I'm just always ready, Clyde. That's what that
That's
means.
right. That's right. It may be colder, but he's never frigid, if you know what I mean. And Carl Witzman about the Secret Humor Group. Anyone want to buy a humor group? Oh, I would, but I don't know. It's tainted now.
Carl, all you can do is shut it down and salt the internet.
Yeah.
I mean, just
Yeah.
preferably go back there.
Yeah, preferably in ancient runes. Just try to save it somehow. My God.
Cut off its head and stuff it with garlic or something, and put a steak where its heart used to be. And Sarah goes, "That's how I'll forever see Rodman."
Okay.
Oh wow!
Enjoy. If that's what you want to do to yourself, enjoy it. But my condolences.
We're not going to talk about doing it ourselves. Anyway, so that's what rated M for mature. It should be I. So it should be I for immature. And it's mostly the host. Anyway, good luck, Sarah. Anyway, I believe following all that will be the one, the only, the gold standard, Mr. Clyde Hall. Good.
You expect me to review a horror title that can top that? I don't think so.
Please save this.
Yeah, your task is before you,
okay.
Clyde, and may God have mercy on your soul. So,
I'll give it a
Clyde,
shot.
what have you got for us this week?
Okay, well, for one thing, I was going through some older horror material, and I found this. I hadn't seen this in a long time. So,
whoa,
yeah, you can tell it has been well read over and over. But this is from childhood, and this is one of the Marvel Monsters Unleashed. This is the kind of stuff I grew up on, and this is the sort of thing I look for during the Halloween season. But I saw a book at the local comic book shop that interested me, and it was from Ablaze Comics, which is not a company I'd ever done a review for. So I thought, I'm going to give this a try.
I like the title.
It is a good title. He Who Fights with Monsters. And it goes in some areas that I know a little bit about. So it was not a big surprise. It is a different kind of horror story. Quite frankly, what Brian Rodman reviewed earlier, that sounds more like my cup of tea. But this is the same artist that did Something Is Killing the Children, which is a horror title I really liked. So that got my attention. And although it's not perfect, I think that this company, for a small company, is trying to do some ambitious things. Some of it succeeds, some of it doesn't. But I think it's worth holding up to show some of the things that you're doing right, and to take them to task a little bit for some of the things that they could improve on. So to get into the review, let's look back here. He Who Fights with Monsters #2 just came out last week, so I officially said I'm going to do that review. My comic book shop has not got in the second issue because it's one of those lesser companies, smaller company, lesser titles. So sometimes that takes a while for them to get it. So I got it on Comixology. The art style is very much like #1. It's very consistent. So I'm going to show you some images from #1 because I don't have a physical copy of #2. But you can get a good idea of the strength of the art, I think, from this. I was impressed that Werther de Ladera, the artist, does look different, quite different than Something Is Killing the Children. And I owe a lot to it owes a lot to the colorist on this, which is Giovanni Nero, because parts of it at times remind me of a newsreel. And since it takes place in World War II, this is entirely appropriate. Some of the covers are like this, which are kind of a noirish or a war comic kind of thing. Some are horrors. They have a lot of variations on their covers, a lot of variants. So some of them are horror, and then there's one that I don't get, and I'll throw it out to you guys later on and see if I'm missing something about it. But there's one avenue they went down with the variant covers. It doesn't make sense to me. But so we're talking about Prague, 1942. Basically, you have an occupied country. Czechoslovakia is occupied by the Nazis. And these are the sorts of panels that you see of occupied territory. Again, this is quite different than what he was doing for Something Is Killing the Children, in its layout at least. You have, if Eric were here, he would be very happy because we have a lot of sound effects.
Yeah,
they're nice. And then we get into some of the more moody interiors. This is where some people are hiding in the catacombs beneath the city because they're Jewish, and they're part of an underground resistance effort. If you have seen the movie Anthropoid, Operation Anthropoid, it talks about this same setting, a very factual movie. And I was reminded of it a lot reading these two issues. And here's some outdoor graveyard settings and kind of the spookery.
Kind of also reminds me of Tim Sale's art.
Oh, yeah. I not thought of that, but you're right. Yes. Okay. So, again, this is a period piece. It's Ablaze Publications. They are $3.99 a copy. It is written by Francesco Ardabani, and art is by Werther de Ladera. The colors are by Giovanna Nero. Letters by A Larger World Studios, Troy Pettery. The maturity level I'd say rated M for mature because of the war, mainly the topics and the Nazi brutality to the people that they have under their boot heel. And there are some spoiler warnings, minor spoilers ahead for issues 1 and 2. I couldn't really get into the supernatural elements without revealing a little bit, but they are not the kind of thing that it would be ruined with a few spoilers, I don't believe. So, Prague in World War II was under the Nazi jackboot like many other cities, but their resistance fought back against the occupiers so vehemently, they actually assassinated the third most powerful figure of the Nazi regime, General Reinhard Heydrich. He was the primary architect of the Holocaust and infamously known as the Butcher of Prague. So that assassination resulted in brutal reprisals by the Nazis. The suffering of the Czech people was intensified even more, and it was said that with all the evils walking the embattled earth of that time, they took a special interest in Prague. If you've watched the 2016 film Anthropoid, you'll have a good idea how the assassination was carried out, because that's the topic of the film. The filmmakers paid close attention to historical accuracy in making that movie, and you'll also understand the brutality of the Nazi response. The people were made to pay for their defiance with blood. And in He Who Fights with Monsters, scripter Francesco Artabani orchestrates a spooky Halloween offering depicting human monsters facing a supernatural one, a monstrosity conjured by the oppressed as their final option for fighting back. Sometimes you don't win against human monsters by being better, the narrative implies, but by being worse. The premiere issue introduces us to a street puppeteer named Glonek. He's eking out an existence in the final days of the Second World War. German sympathizers and citizens who came to Prague as factory labor are being expelled, some lethally, some by invitation as the Soviets assume control. Glonek meets a Soviet soldier who stops the harassment of a German family by the Czech citizens, but who also sends the Germans out of the country post-haste. He's interested in keeping the peace, but he's not showing any sympathy for either side. The puppeteer has a story to perform, and he bids the soldier to watch. So we're taken back, via puppet show, to 1942 and Prague's occupation after the assassination of Heydrich. The Nazis have offered big bounties for anyone turning over disloyal citizens or members of the underground. Their patrol sweeps the city, shooting down those who run as evidence of guilt. One patrol encounters a Dr. Klodek, a forged identity used by a Jewish physician named Radek. He's part of a group hidden in the catacombs beneath a graveyard, and he treats those who are ill as well as the Prague resistance when they're injured. One of his patients is a Jewish elder, one that is not long for this world. He's a professor, and he relates the legend of the Golem, an artificial man-like creature constructed and brought to life using secret directions from the Kabbalah. The Golem, 300 years previous, had been created to strike back at those who killed and persecuted the Jewish citizens of Prague. The man claims to know the location of the creature and the scrolls needed to reanimate it. In issue 2, we find that Dr. Radek's girlfriend, Zoska, works as a maid in the home of a Nazi official, and she's also part of the resistance. Their operatives are being arrested, turned over by their own countrymen in exchange for tempting Reich gold bounties. With the danger increasing and with cattle car shipments of prisoners, both political and Jewish, being increased daily, Dr. Radek investigates his elder patient's claims, and he finds evidence that the old man may be telling more than myth. As the two conduct an excavation, Nazi forces begin closing in. Artabani has been a comic book writer since 1992, and he's a screenwriter for Disney Italia. He is considered one of their most versatile dramatists. He tackles this title much like the filmmakers of Anthropoid. He doesn't stray very far from known details regarding this period, and the fantastic elements of the story, including the specifics regarding this creature, therefore seem just as plausible. Issue number 1 was a nicely conceived street machine of a comic book. It had a formidable engine driving it, rack and pinion steering, and a proven fuel injection formula, but it starts unidled roughly. The plot feels a bit disjointed at the start, owing to the framing, I think. The story begins in 1945. Then the puppet show relates flashbacks to 1942. Then we get the details of a 300-year-old legend and how it came to be. The progression, I think, might work better as a screenplay, As done here, the wheels turn slowly and they lose traction, I think, with that first issue. The Golem of Judaic legend is handled well, though, by Artabani, who again presents the details of the monster, one with a more locked-in origin than some monsters like vampires or werewolves, and he does it fairly accurately. I'm an armchair student of the legend because I have used it in a game before, and the research that I found, again, armchair research, but seems to be based on several sources. It reflected what he had, so I was like, okay, this seems to be accurate. His work's a great combination of historical research because the things about Prague and the resistance, that was dead on accurate with history. I checked some of those, so checked most of the ones I wasn't familiar with. So armchair historian satisfied, armchair mythologist satisfied. So, but his work is a great combination of historical research and defined supernatural elements. It has the makings of a creepy Halloween tale, but very little of the supernatural elements are on display through issues number 1 or 2. And the framing for me is part of this problem. There's a 7-page preview of a Coming Ablaze comic in number 1, and it drops you out of the main story so abruptly, I swear, I was looking for pages that fell out of the book. I was like, what? Where's my story? A 6-page preview in number 2 is less abrupt, but it begins just as magical mayhem might be imminent, forestalling any such reveals until number 3. And I get the feeling that just stretching, and also, look at these new things we want you to buy. Well, great. I bought this. I'd like to read this story first. Both inserts undercut the narrative flow, and the readers may feel a bit cheated with their anticipated program being interrupted by infomercials at just the wrong moments. I don't really fault Artabani. His work's high caliber. This could have been just an editorial or administrative decision. I don't know who decided where to cut the stories and to put in how much preview for other books. Maybe it's just Ablaze trying to heavily promote their other projects. But however they decided to do this, it curtailed my enjoyment of these first 2 issues. And it's a story I wanted very much to enjoy in the spirit of the Halloween season. The art of Werther Deladera provides a decidedly macabre spirit for the story, just as his work did in the Something is Killing the Children, an excellent series that I would highly recommend you pick up. I think the first TPB came out not too long ago. So the colors of Giovanni Nero deepen the shadows of a city under nightmarish occupation, and they grant Deladera his style a distinctive and very appropriate wartime look for these issues. As I said, the panels and hues combined were reminiscent to me of newsreel footage of the times, which accommodates this narrative well. Troy Pettery's lettering work, you saw some of it. It leans on the minimalist side. The dialogue is very short. Many panels are completely silent. And then he breaks up those periods with these outbursts of din, like you saw. The latter comes through as creative and effective sound effects, and this approach, the alternating of that silence for the sudden cacophony of sound, I think it's a clever mirror of the story. Secretive groups working quietly in the shadows to vex their occupiers. Then they're discovered, erupting in tanks and gunfire sounds, and then the stillness of death following soon after. It's subtle, but I really appreciated the lettering job he did. There's a lot of variant covers, not something that I often notice, but again, some of these are war comic aesthetic. That's great. Some have a horror vibe. That's great. And somebody is doing a continuing set in a classic Fantastic Four style. I don't know why. Homage covers can vary from their source material, but while a Hellboy one mimicking the Exorcist movie poster that we saw, that tracks thematically, if not in tone, at least thematically, I can understand. I can easily make that connection. But the Fantastic Four and the tale being told here, I don't get, except that Glownick resembles Philip Masters, who is the puppet master in the Fantastic Four. But that seems a really weak link to have an entire continuing series of old-fashioned Fantastic Four covers for this story in homage. So this is the first time I've given Ablaze Comics a test drive, and it's not going to be the last. There were some problems with these issues, but I thought they're really making an effort The work that they're putting in is apparent, and the creative team's approach is as well. If there had been greater focus introducing the story in the first 2 issues and less on selling other titles coming out, I would have been hooked deeper, and that would have been more satisfying. My score for He Who Fights with Monsters #1 was between 6 and 6.5. But with the narrative developments and despite the continued pacing problems, #2 has risen out to 7 out of 10 for my review this week.
Wow. Okay.
I'm buying that book.
Cool.
I absolutely love that artwork.
Yeah.
That is
And
fascinating.
there will be a strong point, and there are a few things where the dialogue seems a little modern, but it's possible because I looked up the writer, and all of the interviews he does are in Italian. We could have a translation gaffe, I think, and it's not a major thing. It's just that how sometimes it's set in 1940, 42, and 45. That sounds like a pretty modern phrasing of an idea, as this character said it. But it's a very small complaint. But I'm glad you like I'm glad it intrigues you enough to pick it up, because I want to see them do more like this, and by buying their product. I probably won't buy the other 2 previews just out of spite, because you messed up my monster story, but that's okay.
That's valid. No, that's very cool.
Oh, also Stephen Carell.
Stephen Carell?
Uh-huh. To play me.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, I was like, he's in it?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Did you write this book? Wow.
Yeah.
He's talented. Okay.
Yeah, he's dorky enough. I think he could probably, on his his dorkier days, he could probably, and we're getting close to the same age, so yeah, I think he could play me all right.
Well, you held up that one comic book, that one back issue.
Yeah.
That made me very happy, and is something I did not grab. That Monsters Unleashed.
Mhm.
I bought a back issue this week too. I was back in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I drove by a Half Price Books, and they generally have comics there. I picked up this.
Oh, a giant.
Oh,
Nice.
Giants, folks, Giants. See that thing right there, 50 cents.
Yeah.
This is July 1975. Carmine Infantino is still the publisher. In fact, you can tell his layouts on that, I think. The rest of it is rendered by Bob Oxner, who drew like Bob Hope and Jerry Lewis and Supergirl. He's a very, very versatile artist, and he was a writer for Sesame Street for a number of years.
Was he?
Yes, he was. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And the lead story is 25 pages long by Elliot Magan, Kurt Swan, and Mr. Oxner again. And one strength that Kurt Swan always had was he is able to draw normal people. And make the panels look good. But not only do you get 25 pages of Superman action, it is followed up by a Green Arrow story. And I'm trying to get a 2-page. Let me expand this because I think you'll dig this. This is
nice.
Yeah.
You know who that is, don't you? Let's see. Let me get a more evocative panel. Oh, let's see. Can I get? Yeah. Look at that first panel there. Jack Kirby.
I was about to say, is that Kirby? Yeah.
Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
Pencils and inks.
Yeah.
Background inks maybe his wife Roz, but yeah, there's something.
Oh yeah, there you go. Yeah.
It looks more Kirby-ish. This was the stuff he was doing for DC, like along with Challengers of the Unknown, various horror titles, and then you wrap it up with a story by Gardner Fox, Gil Kane, and Sid Green, The Atom.
Ah,
nice.
See? So it's not in horrible condition. I paid about $7 for it, but look how much entertainment you get with this thing too. So those were always a treat. The reprints back before reprints were readily available.
The 100-page super spectacular.
Yeah. This isn't one of the 100 pagers, but it's it's got a lot going for it, and you're holding that one issue reminded me of that, so I thought I would share that. So anyway, let's get back to the comments. As Carl mourns the loss of his secret humor page, Sarah dances in its ashes, saying, "I just broke Uncle Carl's secret humor group with a mere 1% of my dark power."
Wow.
And Michaela J says, 6 watching, 9 likes. Now that's more like it. And,
There you go.
And it was the illustration that is seared forever into our souls now from Nick Tockert was done quickly. Wow. And I think Uncle Carl got broken too. Anyway, and Michaela J says, "I've caused enough trouble for one night. I'm off to bed." Well, good night, darling. Mwah. Good, glad to see you as always. And check out Michaela's morning motivationals; they are good for you, definitely. Historical Fencing Guild says, "Slow burn supernatural stories are some of the best. Magic works well when presented in line with Hitchcock's bomb theory." That's true. And for those of you who don't know, it's like you watch the bomb get ignited, like the fuse get lit, and then you pop in every now and then to see how far the fuse has burned, while everyone may or may not be aware of its present. And Carl Wilson says, "I like the comparison to a test ride. Clyde's reviews are always a treat."
Absolutely,
for sure. And Ted Davis goes, "Yeah, another DC book." And Kirby in for the win. You got that right, brother. Definitely. So we have just hit the 2-hour mark. I did put something in the private comment.
Yeah, that's what I thought we were going to talk about, but it's like we're not going to have time.
Yeah.
We could save it for next week.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
Okay, and we'll give it some love.
That's if I'm here next week.
Well, you know what? Tell you what.
You will be, because I won't be here next week.
That's true.
Yeah.
And we may not. Well, actually, we are. I think we ought to do an episode next week. See, we were discussing amongst ourselves, dear viewers, the fact that this coming Tuesday is going to be the crossover of this show with our newest acquisition, the Dastardly Dingoes. Yeah, we're excited too. And I definitely want Joe in on that if you've got the time, Joe.
No, I could do. I could make time Tuesday for that. I just need the invite, and then we can make it a threesome. Then it would be Dastardly Dingoes from Comic Books Bathroom from the That's a Small Press publisher.
My gosh, it's going to be 7 people. It's going to be a full screen that night, fellas.
And I'm not having to run it. Yes.
I guess this is. Are you saying this is my like this is my shot? This is your
time to shine or screw up. This is where you can run the show as easily and as smoothly as I do.
I don't think I'll be able to.
Well, if you saw how the show opened, so you see how like how long has Brian been doing
we
this?
always transcend the comic book universe, so that's the reason why the show began the way that it did.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah, that was my evil twin Skippy you saw earlier. He dresses nicer. And Carl Witzman says, "Good shows, guys. Thank you very much, Carl. We're glad you're here.
Carl.
Thank you for being a part of it. And you're probably heading over to another Joe Dog McKeel and Stupid O'Clock, the funniest and most intelligent geek show on the air. And definitely, if you abandon us for that, we will understand." Carl, have a good evening. Thank you, and Donna, for being here. Ted Davies Artistry, and Ted is launching Grim 101 #2 soon, so check it out. We're all going to be a part of that.
Yay.
And great show, Fab 4. Have a great evening, all. You too, Ted. Much love
Thanks,
to you
bud.
and Christine. All right. So yeah, we will shelve the potential discussion for next week. And just to give you a clue, let me tease it a little. It's time for Marvel and DC to embrace change and retire their legacy characters. We will talk about that next week. All right. And I think we will get a good discussion out of that, not just from us, but from our audience as well. And like I said, Joe, you will be in on it, come hell or high water, and whether you want to be or not. But anyway,
don't you threaten him like that.
No, if he threatened me, I'll be here. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
You never know. You never know. He might pull out something that's like, see? Oh, no, blackmail.
Yeah, it's like either that or I will sign your name to this illustration, Joe. So anyway, your career is over. Anyway. But no, I think that'll be a lot of fun for next week. So, and like I said, Brian has a prior engagement, and hopefully we will have Eric back then. But if not, I'm sure the three of us can carry on.
My wayward son. That was for you.
Ooh! I just thought about that. Yeah, I might have something to go along with what we just reviewed by that time.
Ooh. All right.
Cool. Definitely. That's a treat. Oh yeah, and definitely we will be bringing reviews to Tuesday night's crossover show too.
It's gonna be, we're gonna be talking about bringing our favorite back issues or trade paperbacks to the table and talking about why they are our favorites, and sharing that with each other. I think it'll be a lot of fun. There's going to be 7 of us, so you're going to get some variety. You're going to get some, and you get to make fun of Chad for pretending like he likes comics.
I love when you make that face. That makes me so want to get like, oh, Chad hasn't met me. Chad hasn't met me. When you did that face, it's like he doesn't really into comics, and you go, oh, like he's got to be
fresh.
Yeah, Chad makes brilliant. He makes a brilliant comic book series right now called The Silence. It's fantastic, amazing artwork. His artwork rivals Jim Lee. I'm not exaggerating. He is very, very good, super smart. But like a toddler, really just kind of looks at pictures in the comics instead of actually reading them. So,
Okay, so he doesn't read comics. He doesn't watch horror movies. What is he?
I don't know. He's a serial killer. That's what I said. He's a serial killer, and I'm hunting for the proof. It's gonna happen soon. There's bodies under his house.
He's our Dexter.
Maybe he's the serene part of the Joker's psyche. If you ever read that story.
Ooh, yeah. There we go.
Don't give him that much cool. Don't do that.
What I envision is Chad sitting down with a blank, canvas. Taking a like some Sherwin-Williams and dipping it in gently, taking off the excess, then drawing a line down the middle of that canvas, putting the brush back down, sealing up the paint, then doing this for the next several hours. Just
wow.
Yeah. And poor Chad, every time when I've been on there with him, I say something nice about Chad, and he's like,
yeah, because he knows his place, and you're not being helpful with that, Brian.
You're setting the psyche apple cart there. We should get Carl to psychoanalyze him.
Am I going to meet the third person? Am I going to meet the third person of the Dingoes too?
Jeremy, perhaps. He's had some health issues, so he hasn't been able to join us, but I think he'll be able to join us next week. We'll see.
Cool.
Okay. So maybe.
That'll be fun. Yeah, because that way you get to run the show with all 7.
Hey man, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Good. I've run shows with a lot of people before.
I ain't scared. Let's do it.
That's right.
Do it.
If I can screw up just having 4 people on, 3 more ain't gonna make a difference. So,
and then you know what? If I screw up, then hey, we can make Nick's picture my profile. It'll be fun. There we go.
There we go. Yeah.
No, I will not do that because I have a mother on Facebook.
Oh.
I do too. So yeah, I
will not do that. But
unfortunately, she doesn't watch these shows. So anyway, hopefully not tonight. And Grand Illusion Show, glad to see you here, Grand Christian Illusion Show. Are you a fan of Star Wars? If you are the guy that plays Poe Dameron and Queen Amidala are in a Christmas movie, Okay.
Cool.
Do any of you play Poe Dameron and Queen Amidala at the same time?
Only on Saturday nights.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's
Yeah.
that explains all those videos you keep sending me.
Well,
Okay. Okay. It all becomes clear now. Anyway, thank you for being your grand illusion.
This weekend, Brian, you and I can play Trade Federation. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. I'm docking my space. I'm docking my starship. Anyway, where is that again?
Yep.
There we go.
Definitely no
There it
agreement
is.
with that.
Yeah, we should just start with that from now on. Say that.
Full screen.
Full screen. Yeah, just hear our voices. That's riveting. Anyway. So anyway, thank you all for being here, everyone in the audience, and the two actors I met. I'm a fan of both actors. Yeah. Poe Dameron, the guy that played, wasn't it Jason Isaacs?
Yeah, he's gonna be Moon Knight as well.
Yes, and I believe he's also in Dune, which is
he is
now out.
Coming out
This came out tonight.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tonight it's available on HBO Max as well. I'm probably gonna watch it. Not watching it tonight. It's way too late to start Dune. But I'll
I was going to read the book and hopefully get it done by morning. So yeah, my lips
Good
will
luck
be
with
burning.
that. Good luck with reading
Yeah,
the book and get it
right.
done by morning. Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, my lips don't move that fast. No, actually, I've tried to read Dune a couple times. I've never gotten into it.
Yeah,
but it was when I was much younger. I might be able to do it now.
it hasn't gotten any better. Trust me.
Okay, good. Anyway. And Rodman clearly has the legs to be Poe and Amidala.
That's true.
That's true.
Clearly.
And Carl West says, "Night, everyone. Good night, Carl."
Good night,
And
Carl.
thank you
Good
again
night,
for
Carl.
hosting. Never mind the Furthermore for me yesterday. That's greatly appreciated. And Oscar Isaacs, thank you, Damian Walker.
There he is.
That's what it
There's
was.
Damien.
There's our guy.
Oh! Damien
Damian.
has made us an
Ooh.
amazing action figure
There you
of
go.
Moriel.
No, that's glare there. Turn it to the there you
There
go.
we
There,
go.
that's-
What are you
Glare.
saying? There's no glare. What are you talking about? There's no glare. Moriel
There.
is one of the main angelic characters, and my goodness,
Hmm.
Oh Toys, Damian Walburn did such a great job with this. They also did, boom, the Nebulizer action figure, which was super, super cool. There are 5 figures of Moriel left on the Kickstarter page, and everyone is signed by me and numbered. So you definitely want to jump on that while supplies last.
Most beautiful.
Hashtag always provide.
Where did you get that? Anyway, no, that's super. And here we go. And Damien continues. I was gonna say better late than never. There we go. That's exactly what I said to this group here when I did the show. I didn't get it done with my usual earliness. And I said, well, better late than never. So anyway, and big surprise on Grim 101 Book 2 Kickstarter launches soon.
Yeah, baby.
Sunday, if I believe it's Sunday.
Beautiful US 30 drag strip where the great ones run.
At the Grim 101 Raceway.
No, I know that one. So. Every Saturday afternoon on WLS. Anyway, yeah. But anyway, looking forward to it, Ted. And we're going to be a part of that promotion too. We're going to have Ted on an episode of Nevermind the Furthermore soon. So, and stay tuned. We've got more guests coming up there too. And so anyway, keep an eye on that. We've got some great Kickstarter campaigns, including Mr. Rodman's here. Looking forward to that. And Ted Davies says, just saying, Damien is the man. See you Sunday at 7 p.m. Damien will be there, just saying. Coolness. We'll definitely talk that up.
Oh, hold on. There's an urgent message from the king.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. What's wrong? Oh, you getting camera shy, huh? She was just screaming at me. Oh, gosh. Oh.
Yeah, there it is again.
What did the Paul say to the face? Slap!
It's
just
see
vicious.
that little whip of a tail
I
behind
know,
Brian,
man.
You know, we could be seeing this man's head fly off at any second.
Any
That's
minute. Any minute now.
Any minute, man. That's what we used to call good television back in the PBS days. A guy gets decapitated during a fun drive. You know, it's, hey, that's good TV. You know, that's good stuff.
We should film,
So,
more, we should film
anyway.
more promos at the airport. This is great. Look at that.
Yeah.
Paid Assassins is Damien Waldron. Oh, this show has gone so far off the rails we don't even remember where they were. So anyway, let's
It
go
had
around
rails.
a long time ago, probably before I started hosting this thing. And tell her the tender victuals are in the mail.
Did you hear that? Where'd you go? Oh crap! She's gonna sneak up on me eventually. There she is. You got tender victuals. Did you hear? She got real excited. There we go.
Yeah,
right.
it's going into Luna's Grand Cayman's slush fund file.
her offshore accounts.
Yeah, exactly. Something in the Grand Caymans now. So anyway, thank you, Damien, and thank you, panel. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Another excellent episode. Always a pleasure to read comics with you. And I think let's close it out. We'll start with Clyde. We'll go in reverse. And of course, the theme should be give Rodman tacos.
Yes. Taco. Give me tacos.
Yeah.
To go along with his pumpkins. But anyway, let's go around the room and name stuff you can't unsee. Anyway. People usually worry it's me. Anyway, so let's go around the room in reverse order, and we'll let Mr. Taco go last. We'll start with Clyde, then Joe, and let's close out the show. So, Clyde Hall, tell everybody how they can keep track of your amazing self.
First, send me some mental floss, because I'll tell you what.
You know you like
After
that.
you mail me my mental floss, you can follow me on Facebook at Clyde Hall and Radiating Positive Vibes with author Clyde Hall, both of my Facebook sites. You can also find me on Twitter at CJ Hall 1984. I forgot to mention earlier, you're always wanting to know why we're cool. Of course, the number one reason this week that I'm cool is I am now an ornery Dastardly Dingo because of my last week. So thank you, Brian.
Woohoo!
And now I'm going to do a follow-up. And do I get to be more ornery when we have our crossover episode, or what?
Absolutely.
Good. Okay. But if you would like to see the kind of stories that I have been writing in the last year, www.stormgatepress.com. Look for Pulp Reality #1 in my B-Man story that started the B-Man series here. And Pulp Reality #2, also available, www.stormgatepress.com. They are also both available on Amazon. Coming out very soon, Pulp Reality 3 with a third B-Man story. They're new pulp stories with classic adventures, with a new outlook, and with original characters. So if you like pulps, or if you like horror, or some of the other fine publications from Stormgate Press, go to their site and order away. And every Thursday night, you will find me right here, except next week, Tuesday, the crossover episodes from a Desk of a Small Press Publisher, and Dastardly Dingoes, and Comic Book Spectrum. We're all going to be getting together. You can't miss that. And then Thursday, we'll be back for more reviews on Comic Book Spectrum.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Clyde. All right. And here he is, the one, the only Mr. Joe D. McFee.
And keeping in the theme of our thumbnail, don't give me no dibber dabber. You better be watching this show, or I pity the fool who don't. And that goes for everybody, you know, our friends and those who are just tuning in for the very first time. Always be mindful of Comic Book Spectrum here, you know, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every Thursday here. I might not be here, you know, every Thursday, but when I'm here, it's fun. That's the main thing here. But outside of that, you can always watch my show every Saturday at 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, 10 o'clock Eastern every Saturday from the desk of a small press publisher. Now, let's just say that you don't have YouTube or Twitch or even Facebook. You could hit me up, via Facebook Messenger or regular Facebook or Instagram. Just look for Joe D. McFee on those areas here. Or you could actually hit us up on our company website, which is thesequencystudios.com. That's XIGENCY studios.com, where you could get all of our books here, like the ones that I have behind me here, which is all the different variants of Amazonia. And yes, I did put that book back up, so yay for me. So you can get all those books there at the website, or you can look at our catalog on Comixology. And if you're really, really good, there's ways where you could get digital copies for free or to view it online for free. But I don't tell nobody that, because you have to be following me to know where they're at.
Well said, sir. Well said. Thank you so much, Joe D. McFee.
Not a problem.
Appreciate
and don't
you.
forget, no jibber jabber. Watch our shows. I pity the fool. I pity the fool. Hey, Hannibal, don't give me no milk with no sedative right now. We're not going on airplane. No airplane. No airplane.
Oh, and Joe D. McFee is not flying out of here for that very reason. Anyway, and the one, the only Mr. Brian Rodman, please tell everyone where they can follow you.
Well, folks, what has 9 days left? 8 backer slots until the first backer goal is met, and less than $200 left until the first stretch goal is met. Memoirs of an Angel. It's a horror fantasy comic book series about a ragtag group of infinite and finite beings who race through time and space to rescue a broken and bitter witch hunter from the clutches of the Dark Kingdom. It is like Lord of the Rings meets The Exorcist. And it is available right now, issue 8. And all of these you can get on Kickstarter. Just go to that link. You can see, all the different reward tiers that we have. We have digital reward tiers. We have physical reward tiers. We have toy tiers. We have stickers. We have beanies. We have buttons. We have bookmarks. We have pretty much anything you could think of. It's either there or it's coming. And I'm excited about it. We were fully funded in a few days, and now we're just trying to reach those stretch goals so we can give you more stuff. So help us get there, and let's bring this issue to life in a really awesome way, and always give me tacos. Absolutely. You know where that money's going? It's not going to printing books. It's going to buy me tacos. That is a lie, because I am too poor to not spend that money on buying books. But I am also 1/3 of the Dastardly Dingoes podcast. And this week, the worlds collide. If you enjoyed the shenanigans that you saw here, which how could you not, they're just going to double down next Tuesday when Chad and Jeremy join us. And as we all collectively just pull our efforts together to make Chad's life a living hell. And it is going to be so much fun. Just come in, leave some roasting comments for Chad in the comments, and I'll be sure he sees them. Brian, thank you so much for having me on once again. This has been a really fun night.
Let's put that jibber jabber. Where's Nebulizer 2, fool?
Nebulizer 2 is coming, and this weekend, the Nebulizer #1 will be available on brianrodman.com. So if you missed the Kickstarter, now's your chance.
Mr. T liked that announcement. Now go ahead.
And here we go.
The horror.
Don't call him that. Oh, horror. Excuse me. Anyway.
Actually, no, that's accurate.
Almost photographic detail, I'm telling you, folks. That'll be available from brianrodman.com, too. I think he's making it into a beach towel. So you can rub your body with that. Anyway,
I'm making it into a nice loofah as well. Bath time with Brian. It'll be fun.
Whoa.
Ooh la la. Anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris, nominally in charge of this thing. I gave up on that ages ago. And Damien Waldron says, must look away.
Yep.
Damien,
Too
if
late.
you're lucky, you can get the original. You know what I'm saying? And Damien's what's the second prize? 2 of them. But anyway, I'm Brian K. Morris of Rising Tide Publications, former mortician's assistant and award. No, I'm actually an award-winning writer. No, I can get rid of the air quotes. I am an award-winning writer. I write for many people, including Stormgate Press, Rose Press, Flinch Books, to say nothing of my own Rising Tide outfit. And currently, check out these on Amazon. It's Zlonk, Zock, Zowie, and Biff Bam Eow. Ask for them by name.
Go to the library and ask for them. I dare you. I double dare you.
Especially Mount Vernon, okay? Mount Vernon, Illinois. Edited by Jim Beard with Rich Handley, but they're a pair of books that examine the first and second season of the 1966 Batman television show. And some great writers in here like Jim Beard, Ed Catto, Keith DeCandido, Chuck Dixon, Paul Kupperberg, Dan Greenfield, Bob Greenberger, Will Murray, Mark Raykop, Peter Sanderson, Stephen Thompson, and Brian K. Morris, who happens to be in this one, talking about Vincent Price and Egghead. These are available right now on Amazon, and I will have some 1 week from tomorrow with when I will be at HalloCon in Dalton, Georgia, along with great guests like Michaela Jade, John B. Pica, Bobby Nash, and Uncle Carl Witzman and Aunt Donna Carleen. We are going to have a blast down there with Joe Dog McKeel, who is the host of Stupid O'Clock, which is going on right now. Please check out that show once we're off the air in a minute or two. And check out risingtide.pub, where you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter and slab that art. There we go. We will do that very thing. Anyway, thank you, Damien, who has redesigned this page, by the way. So please check it out. He's done a super job with it. He's done, it is greatly useful and a joy to look at, as you will find if you go there. And also don't forget, we have Never Mind the Furthermore Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern. We will be on live tomorrow. Thank you again to Carl Witzman for filling in on Wednesday. And we look forward to our crossover with the Dastardly Dingoes on this coming Tuesday night. We hope you do too. And so now we need to thank some people, of course. And one of them is our sponsor of the night, and that is Plasma Fire Graphics. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you. When you want graphics to help sell your book, both on the cover and on social media and book trailers, contact Jeffrey Hayes at plasmafiregraphics.com. Also check out their Facebook page and inquire about his very, very, very affordable rates. You'll be glad you did. Plasma Fire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you, because it matters to your readers. Also, what matters to us is also the support of the Rising Tide Broadcast Network. We are a group of like-minded individuals helping each other rise together in our efforts here to develop our audiences. And we've got all kinds of cool things. Like I said, Stupid O'Clock is on right now on Joe D. McFee's channel and also on Facebook. Also check out Last Man Standing at 11 p.m. with Dan Holofield. Always a good time. Tomorrow morning I'll be back with Never Mind the Furthermore, and then let's see. Then at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. rather, we'll be drinking with the Davies, and Chrissy and Ted Davies will bring some real great entertainment and adult beverages to you. Followed by the Historical Fencing Guild at 8 p.m., where you can learn to kill each other safely. Saturday night will be Joe D. McFee from the Desk of Small Press Publisher. Always entertaining, always a lot of fun, and no jibba jabba, I promise you. That was my attempt. Anyway, also, and then following that will be another episode of Stupid O'Clock at 10 p.m. or at 11 p.m., 10 p.m. Central, with Dan Hollfield's Last Man Standing at 1 a.m. Sunday morning. And then we'll wrap up your week with Heather Ellen at 10 p.m. Eastern with Comics, Chaos, and Sass. She brings all three. She's lovely. She is great, and you can promote your work there. So anyway, check out our Facebook page, and please give it a subscription, all right? And also, speaking of subscription, check out our Patreon page, where we give you all kinds of cool things, including special blogs and peeks at our works in progress, among other joys. And also you get your name on this show. So if you want to be on this card, check out what we do at www.patreon.com/Brian K. Morris. And with that, we are going to take that down. And please join us next week for Comic Book Spectrum at 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Central Time. And as always, folks, we're grateful for your presence. Thank you for your involvement in the show. And we'll see you next week on Comic Book Spectrum. And as always, stay smart, stay safe, wash your hands, and never apologize for being awesome. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next week on Comic Book Spectrum.
Thank you for watching Comic Book Spectrum, a Rising Tide Broadcast Network production. Please join us next week for another look at comics, past, present, and future. If you enjoyed this, please give the show a like and be sure to subscribe and share it with your friends. To receive our free monthly newsletter, go to www.risingtide.pub and be sure to give the Rising Tide Broadcast Network page on Facebook a like in order to receive news about upcoming shows, including Clever Title Pending, Stupid O'Clock, Clever as Hail, Comics, Chaos, and Sass, Tidbits and Scribbles, the Historical Fencing Guild, and never mind the Furthermore. See you next week.